Well, good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson Knight. And of course, with me tonight is my techie with the mostest, Techy Joe, who looks like he's about ready to have a small breakdown.
Well, I just realized that I didn't hit go live until like the very end of the intro.
Oh, cute, cute. Thanks for giving
Yeah,
me extra
yeah,
work.
yeah. So yeah, it'll be a minute before everyone gets in.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's get a banner up. Sorry, guys, it's been a week. It's been a crazy week.
It
We'll
has
talk more about
been
that.
too crazy.
Huh?
It has not been too crazy. We've been able to handle this just fine.
We have. But yeah, well, it's a very different week.
It
That's more
is.
so. Like, it's a very, very different week.
Yes.
But yeah. But no, I've been on the road this week.
Yes, we've been living our what I envisioned originally.
Yeah. Hey Shannon. I'm especially waiting for Mary to get in.
Uh-huh.
Hey Justin. Oh, which one of us? Both of us actually have
What?
shaved.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm waiting for Mary to get in. I was posting about a thing earlier today, and I figure that'll be awesome.
Ah.
Ah, but yeah, we both did. Yeah.
Yeah. It's called mass swearing and a total aggravation.
Oh well, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. My facial hair didn't bother me quite so much for the mask,
Mm-hmm.
but I know it really bugged you.
Well, what bugged me was okay. So Aeson's hair isn't as soft as it looks. Amika, how are you, darling?
Hey
Um.
Ashley, hey Mika.
Yeah. Um. So my facial isn't as soft as it looks. It's very coarse. So it kept popping through the mask, which is a pain.
Mm.
And then it was soaking wet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Like, if anyone questioned if you breathe droplets out, all you gotta do is wear a mask or a double mask, and it's like, ugh.
yeah, absolutely. Oh, Mary's not feeling well. Okay,
Oh.
well, I don't know if Mary joins us later. Then I'll just have to be like, well, I tried, but
She can
It
catch
was
this in
Shannon's fault.
replay.
It was Shannon's fault. No. So yeah, I've been working on the small office network, and I've gotten to the point of dealing with their phone situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's been a hot minute, um, since I've actually had to deal with phone situations. The last time I've dealt with phone was in a call center, with T1 lines
Mm-hmm.
and like hundreds of handsets.
Right.
Not, we have four lines plus a fax line. Oh, well, sort of in between, Ashley. Interesting question. Very interesting question. It's effectively a plain old telephone line running over cable carrier voice over IP service provider.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically taking a digital thing that's being made into analog to be turned into what could easily be a digital signal,
Mm-hmm.
um, using an existing network through the building,
Mm-hmm.
and hooking it, and then out of that connection, out of that Ethernet connection that's running, the an analog signal, breaking that back out, from 8 Ethernet, into the four lines again. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I made a what could effectively be called a power strip for four phone lines today,
Ah.
to take four phone lines and be able to hook that out to six different points in the building.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's mentally it was some gymnastics.
Well, it's always gymnastics for you, darling.
Oh, and I about went to the hospital because I was playing. I have had in my bag for the longest time this really old punch down tool, like
Mm-hmm.
old school annoying punch down tool. And like so I was sitting and trying to do what I like build all this today, and I grabbed it without because I'd totally forgotten we had found very inexpensively a
Mm-hmm.
much better one. So I'm sitting there manually, one by one, doing my little punch down. Um, and I was really struggling with this one, and that's when the quick connector broke, or more importantly, the keystone, depending upon which
Mm-hmm.
where you're at in your networking. So the little keystone quick connector deal broke, and I just about jammed it into my hand. Like it slipped. It was one of the end connectors, and so as I was like where I was at, it snapped the plastic and it snapped the last or the end part of the connector, the metal part. And so I was literally about to jam that stupid thing into my hand. I was like, oh God, not
Yep.
today, not today, not today.
And this is why your bag's getting cleaned out and your cheap shit's getting removed.
Yeah, that was, well, it wasn't necessarily that it was, well, yeah, it was kind of cheap.
It was cheap.
I mean, like when I bought it, my intention with it was to never do more than like a few repairs with it.
It
Yeah,
was cheap.
well, yeah, it was a little cheap, but
You got it at Five Below. It was cheap.
no, not that one. No, well, I think I did do like it was either an Amazon. It was cheap. It was like an Amazon or a Wish purchase one.
Yeah, you don't need Wish
Well,
tool.
because typically I don't do a lot with punch down anymore.
I understand,
Like,
but you don't need a Wish tool.
yeah, no, that was about. Well, no, my other Wish tools work beautifully.
Uh-huh.
Like, I've been working the hell out of the damn line tester.
Well, true. Hopefully it's testing correctly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Tis the season. Tis the season, Sullivan.
is there topics tonight? Yes, there's hot news tonight, and there's going to be us bitching and gossiping. That's the fun part of this.
Oh, there are
Oh, it
many
is the
topics.
season, Solly, to be throwing things out. It is the
Yeah.
season. Aeson wants to throw out a lot of things. We'll see if he gets.
Well, and then that's the other thing. We got to throw out my bag. That's been the worst part of this week. Was my bag died.
Well, that's because one, the bag you bought is bigger than the car. That is my requirement for your new bag, that it fits in the back of the car.
It fits in the back of the car. You just have to fold the seat down or put it in the seat.
It needs to fit in the car.
Oh. But no, that was a scary moment for me at a client's side note. The part of my bag that died this week was one of the wheels. Like it blew up, like
Mm-mm.
total disintegration on the wheel. I don't know if like one of the dogs got a hold of it or like it got like a rock stuck in it and just drug the hell out of it or what. But I mean, because I can't tell. But I go into this client's office building, and this is, a new to them building. They've just had, floors redone. They've just had carpet put down. They've just done all of this. And I pull the bag through the building behind me and turn back around, and there is a black line from the front door all the way behind me. And I'm like, oh God. Like, thankfully, it was just rubber. It came off of the tile floor, and, like, it'll work its way out of the carpet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not feeling bad. It's, I don't think, really good carpet. Like, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it's synthetic.
Mm-hmm.
It almost reminds me of, like, the indoor-outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
cheap crap.
do what now?
The cheap crap.
Well, but every office anymore. I'm just happy it actually
I
went
don't
down
understand why they put carpet in offices anymore. I really don't.
Well, it actually helps with the sound.
Mm-hmm.
It really does help with the acoustics in office buildings, to use carpet.
Right.
Just because a lot of those buildings, if you do hardwood or like any kind of hard flooring,
Mm-hmm.
like you end up with an echo chamber of all the different sounds. Hey, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Where do we go? There's a lot of news and a lot of things to talk about. Let's go with one of my favorite attack dogs.
Okay, I'm trying to read Mika's question.
Okay. Go for it.
How can I keep my apps from reloading to my internal storage after I offload them to my external storage in my Galaxy phone? By the way, I can't stand this phone, lol. Which Galaxy phone do you have? Because I'm trying to remember the last time a Samsung Galaxy would let you put apps on external. Which, by the way, I know I know what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it is because your phone's almost full. Generally speaking, though, that never quite worked out as a good idea. Like, it was one of those features they thought would help everyone. But putting your apps on external storage is actually just basically might buy you a little time on buying a new phone, but generally it was just a bad idea and it never worked right. A12 or A21. Oh, that's actually a fairly newer phone. Huh. Hey. Let
Why
me
don't
get
you
back
just
to you on
mount
that one, Mika. Yeah. I hadn't seen a newer phone do that in a while.
Yeah, but
But
I
then
was thinking
again,
that the internal mounting the card should fix that.
well, yeah. Well, but it sounds like okay. Um, I'll look into it because I'm sitting here going, it. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what we have to do with mine. Is all I've got my external storage mounted, so it acts as internal.
Okay. Yeah, that would be the important part. Um, but I don't know why they would move back. I mean, some apps they'll tell you you shouldn't or can't.
Right.
But I've never seen them just move. Like, I've never seen them jump.
Right.
Like, random. I mean, it almost sounds like it's happening with updates.
Mm-hmm.
Like, somehow the update's pushing it back on the phone instead of onto the external.
Right.
Like, that's my first off the cuff, is it's
Mm-hmm.
got to be happening at update.
Right.
but I don't know why an update would necessarily pull it. The mounting's always worth it, though you may have to format to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure everything on that card, like, you make a copy first.
Right.
Because, yeah. Alrighty.
Alrighty, so I got 2 questions in here, and we'll clear them out real fast.
Okay.
With Miss Ashley.
Alrighty. So Ashley, and more importantly, Ashley's mother-in-law, 92971, was dodging the Keebler elf a good choice for me?
Yes. You don't need those cookies. Those cookies are tainted with, like, arsenic.
Ooh. That's some bad elves.
They're Keebler elves, that's why.
I don't think they're Keebler if they're bad.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's some bad elves. Like, they were expired elves.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, and another question for Ashley's mother-in-law, 92971. Should I go back to nursing school?
Yes, you should. You're still bored. Go back to nursing school. You'll enjoy it.
One more for her.
Yeah.
Wants to know, does Mr. Squidward miss me?
Yes, Mr. Squidward does miss you, but at the same time, he needs a Krabby Patty.
Ooh. There we go.
All right. So it's very interesting. I have weird relationships with these mega church owners. I think that it's terrible in multiple levels.
Oh, always.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The mega church thing has never been a good deal.
Well, it goes against every fiber of it. Every fiber of the Christian religion, every fiber of everything else, because, you know. But this Joel Osteen in particular pisses me off.
Well, he pisses off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Aw. Ashley's mother-in-law said your face is giving her life.
Aw.
Aw. Yes. So, Mr. Osteen, what he done do now? He's been doing a lot of bad.
PPP loan.
Oh, yeah. He's going to pay those back.
He's decided that he plans to repay the millions of dollars that the PPP loan to his church in Lakewood, Texas received last year. Mm-hmm. This is the same church that he locked the doors during during the hurricanes, I believe it was, and wouldn't let people in.
Oh, yeah.
While everywhere around him was flooding. Yeah. So the government giving $4.4 million of CARE Act funds in December, and the church and Osteen started a huge wave of backlash online, as they should. And furthermore, now they are going to pay it back. What further worries me is how much of that money is going to be coming from old ladies' Social Security checks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, not that, like, they needed the money to begin with.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just saying, yeah. Osteen himself has a net worth of over $50 million, and the church takes in about $43 million a year in collections.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that, like, a lot of churches probably use the PPP loans to try to just add more money.
Right.
Thinking it was all going to be free and no one was going to have a problem with it.
Right.
Which I still don't know why they thought no one was going to have a problem with it.
Right.
Like, how's that work?
Well, I don't think that they thought it would become public knowledge.
That's probably a big part of it.
Yeah. So that makes me question what else he's doing backhanded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just always find him and others are like this is what happens when God tells you need a Learjet.
God hasn't told anybody they need a damn Learjet. None of the gods have said they need a Learjet. maybe Mercury. I could see Mercury followers needing a leader jet because just to keep up with their own god, because he is the messenger to the gods. However, I
Hey,
think it's a deplorable when the separation of church and state, religion and government is crossed, and this was a definite crossing of it. It's like there should not have been any stripper white at a White House press conference ever.
well, now actually that was a previous one. It's been a few years. But there was a preacher who asked his followers to help him buy a fourth private jet.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like okay.
Right.
There's some things I find funny. Like I find sad but funny.
Right.
Like I just like what is your religion? Because it seems a lot like you're buying stuff with other people's money that is like a lot of like excessive things.
Right. Well, not only that, but if we look at the Christian religion itself and its own doctrine, it says give up your worldly possessions
Well, yeah.
and
And
serve
I mean, I think
people.
we can all agree like, don't necessarily make yourself entirely broke like in a modern age like you can manage
Right.
like make sure you eat
Mm-hmm.
that I don't have a problem with. I'm just sitting here going like when does it stop?
Right.
Like how much more do you need? Like how much bigger is the next church? How much bigger is the next house? How many cars could you possibly need to own? How many planes?
Right.
Oh, so the National Zoo vaccinates primates against COVID-19. That's
Mm-hmm.
a really interesting title.
And
Um,
Sandy, it is actually. It's part of the 14th Amendment.
yeah, I think that was more facetious.
Right.
Um, as in, like, yeah, no reason at all. We should not have given money to churches.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it was kind of obvious to everyone when it happened. More importantly, when it became public knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
well, uh, yeah, technically, separation of church and state is clarification of it comes out of the Jefferson Papers
Mm-hmm.
as to how that's interpreted.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain had to process. I'm
Right.
running a little slow.
But it's part of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. It also is touched on in the First Amendment of the Constitution. Um, both of them stating that the government A will make no rules about religion or have an official state religion,
Mm-hmm.
and that church and state has to be separated.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again, you get into the Jefferson Papers for the detail
Right.
of like where, because it's one of those like, is it or isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, are you sponsoring religion when you do this?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you sponsoring religion when you do that?
Right.
And so that's where it kind of got into like okay, having prayer that can be led by anyone at, say, a national event,
Mm-hmm.
go for it. Because you can swap through any number of people,
Mm-hmm.
any number of denominations. It doesn't, it's not like, it has to lock down.
Right.
But when you turn around and start giving money to different churches and different denominations, you have to be very, very careful because unless you're going to do it for all of them,
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it for any of them.
Right.
Because otherwise you inadvertently just sponsored a religion with
Exactly.
taxpayer money.
Yeah.
So, if you want to go into like stoke the 9/11 fire mode, just imagine all of these loans going to Al Qaeda,
Mm-hmm.
and then process that through your head. And if you're like, oh, no, that's the problem. Like, everyone has that reaction to at least one church somewhere.
Right. But see, that's a line that's being like crossed a lot in general. Here's an example. The local city council starts every meeting with a benediction from a religious leader
Mm-hmm.
and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
Problem is so far out of the 9 months that I've seen them, they've only had it from one religious sector.
Oh, yeah. Which is typical.
Yeah, which is problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and technically is violating, I don't know, any other religious sector in the city that they're supposed to be representing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, vaccinating primates against COVID-19.
Okay.
I'm looking through this one.
Okay.
So 7 orangutans, a lowland gorilla, a western lowland gorilla, and a white-eared titi monkey, and 2 emperor tamarins,
Mm-hmm.
all received the first of 2 doses of their COVID injection.
Good.
And they were rewarded with honey.
Aw,
That's just cute.
that's very cute. Um, but looking at it, this has been going on for a while now. Because the COVID vaccine and the COVID itself has been in the animal world for a very long time.
But yeah, apparently there are some animals that are testing positive for COVID-19 that are getting sick. The National Zoo provided a status update on lions and tigers
Mm-hmm.
under its care that it tested positive, presumptive positive for COVID-19 last month, saying the cats are recovering well and behaving, eating, and drinking normally.
Good.
So that's.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, COVID-19 is a new disease." No, it's not. It's been an animal plant forever.
Ashley, that's a question that I know has come up, and was there ever a clear definition of that one, like, or is
It
it
is
still in
in
that gray?
it is in debate, and here's why it's in debate: is because the government of China is refusing to have everyone interviewed. The government of China has blocked access to something. What is known is when COVID-19 appeared in humans, they immediately shut down a market. Now, in this market, you can buy animal parts. And I'm not talking beef and chicken or pork or even, the offhand goose. I'm talking bats, tiger paws, tiger meat, rattlesnake tail. So, yes, it can be very transmittable. It is possible that it was transmitted. The official story at one time was it was transmitted from bat to human.
Well, but it was a question of whether that was like a species jump,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's where everything went wrong,
Mm-hmm.
or whether that was an inevitability,
Right.
like that it was very easily transmittable between animals and humans,
Right.
or well, animals and animals, but your more traditional animals and humans.
Right. And see, this is something we have seen. We have seen this with other diseases.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, HIV, common cold, chicken pox, smallpox.
I keep trying to remember. Did they? I thought they debunked the HIV origin.
No,
That
well,
no, that wasn't what happened.
no, they have not debunked that because they're still debating on whether it was primate to human transference or feline to human transference.
Okay, so we're still saying that HIV crossed from chimps to humans in the 1920s in the
Hmm.
Democratic Republic of Congo. Um, and yeah,
Yeah,
okay. I was just curious.
yeah,
I thought at one point there was like a whole no, that's not what happened. Like that was a whole giant,
right. Yeah, no, it is still the current position, and it's because hello, we're all animals.
Well, we are. And it doesn't take much for, especially animals that have close genetic structures,
Right,
it doesn't take much
right,
for a virus to go six one, half a dozen the other. I don't care.
right. And this is actually what happened with the and why it was called the swine flu, aka the Spanish flu, was because it jumped from hogs to humans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they're using the valves of the hogs' hearts to replace the hearts of the valves in humans.
Well, but we've been doing that for years.
Yeah, but they probably had not determined that until they saw the disease jump and the immune response being the same.
Mm.
Um, what's scarier here and what they're still not sure of is if they can jump back.
Fair.
That was the massive debate. Do we vaccinate
Although,
our dogs and cats, or if we get sick, will our animals get sick of COVID? They're still trying to figure out if that's possible.
yeah. Um, yeah. On that one, we don't know.
Hmm.
As in, I think probably the bigger part of Ashley's question would turn into, is this going to be something that can go back and forth, back and forth? Like, if you get sick and you're like, can you get your dog sick, and then your dog can get someone else sick?
Right.
Like, that would be the bigger concern, I think.
Hmm.
I mean, to be fair, most of our pets are probably doing the stay at home thing a hell of a lot better than we are.
Hmm.
So we're probably the bigger risk to them.
Right. Well, here's the thing with that. It's probably very unlikely that Grace is going to come in contact with chimps at a close up range. 6 feet, guys. Remember, 6 feet.
Well, and but you also still have the, Grace is kind of young.
Hmm.
So you still have the issues of, this is a public attraction.
Right.
I like even with the 6 feet, you still have a lot of kids
Right.
going through and adults going through that space.
Hmm.
Your bigger risk are the fellow humans,
Hmm.
more than I mean, yeah, you probably got some issues with petting zoo portion, like if
Hmm.
there's any kind of a petting area.
Hmm.
But even at that, I would still be more concerned about the other humans.
Right.
Like, that I personally would be less concerned about the animals giving me something other than, a bite. Because it happens.
Yeah.
They're still animals,
Right.
but yeah, I'd be more worried about all the other people's.
Right.
Um, so yeah. Aw. Well, and still you have like she was pointing out that the Philadelphia Zoo does have animals flying, walking around the zoo and in the air.
Right.
If you're talking about birds, your bigger risk there and the easy risk there is always going to be salmonella,
Right.
especially around small kids. Like that's just too easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
Like that would probably be the first place I would go to mentally.
Right. Or bird flu.
Yeah. Which I mean, granted, you know, like salmonella can be especially hard on children. I
Mm-hmm.
know. But so can some of your flus.
Right.
Just because I mean, they're little peoples. They don't have all the, antibodies.
Right.
It takes them a minute.
Mm-hmm. And you know, we were learning that the whole population is learning this, much like they did in the early 1900s. I really find it interesting. I have an old habit of going back and reading like old newspaper press and news information.
Mm-hmm.
You remember? Think of this: 100 years ago, they were just figuring out germs.
Yeah. And Umi, we'd be happy to get to that. We need your date of birth, month, day, and year.
Yep.
Ooh, tough spot having a prior ventilator use. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little scary. I can understand the concern, definitely.
All right. So there are a few other things going on in the news while we're waiting for that.
There are. Oh,
Bill Clinton's in the hospital. He apparently has an infection of the blood.
who?
Bill Clinton.
Oh, sorry, I misheard. Oh,
Yeah. He's in California. They came out and made sure everyone knew it wasn't COVID, not to worry, it's a blood infection.
okay. Well, hopefully he's doing better soon.
Hopefully. All right, looks like we've got a question. We'll take that, and then we'll let you take off on this police chief that's being an ass in Virginia.
Oh yeah, always fun.
Yep.
So Ume, 72694. Is JP gossiping about me?
Yeah, and he's doing it to get the attention of somebody else. So I don't know what that's about.
All right. And then we have Ashley. 82696 is the trip we're taking in November going to go as planned.
Let's take a look here.
Okay.
You're going to be stressed and worried. I feel like it goes well. A few little hiccups, nothing major. Remember, balance in the pack lightly.
There we go.
Yep. All right. So what's the deal with this police chief in Virginia? Is he just an ass?
Where to start? So some of y'all may remember, so January 6th riots, Rocky Mount Police Department had a couple of deputies that kind of popped up and, drew a lot of negative attention to the Rocky Mountain Police Department. Well, it gets worse. So after, they removed both of those officers, they are now in a different situation in which they are dealing with their police chief. It's yeah. So basically, he's taken early retirement or taken retirement. and walked away. What started all this was a records manager for the Rocky Mount Police Department, Regina Stanley. So she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019. And apparently, Police Chief Ken Kreiner thought the appropriate response to that would be saying the following: the bitch gets a little bump on her titty and has to be out 5 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where it started. Lot more problems came to surface in the course of investigating that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so interestingly enough, um, the the town of Rocky Mount, their police department actually has an entire website um, dedicated to reporting issues, or more importantly, to criticizing this police department already.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a thing.
Well, a really great police friend of mine used to say, great cops come from the top, bad cops come from the top. Why this man, A, misused the term bitch, and two, is still a police chief is beyond me. He's an asshole.
Well, he's retired now.
He shouldn't be getting pension.
No, well, it's still very, very,
Right.
very crap. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the best part of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, the best part of it is the lawsuit that has been filed.
Well, certainly, but I mean, the best part is that he is gone now, so
Right.
there's an opportunity for change there. So yeah, and I'm sorry, it's not just one website; it is 3 parody websites about the Rocky Mount Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of a lot.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's basically the current story. There's a lot of interlinking back to the January 6th riots and what happened then. Which, I mean, this city of Rocky Mount did respond, looks like in about 20 days, well, less than 20 days. So 4 days after the event of January 6th, they released a statement acknowledging they were aware of the photos of both officers making the rounds on social media and that they had been placed on leave. And then 16 days later, those officers were fired.
Right.
But
Of course,
yeah,
they'll probably appeal it. However, there's been some notable changes with this. One, I found it quite interesting. So one of the writers decided he wanted to be his own lawyer. This is cute.
oh yeah, like I can't believe anyone.
So during the court case, he confesses to 2 more felonies.
Yeah.
That was cute. What's even more interesting is the judges are getting sick of these light sentences the prosecutors are bringing about.
Well, most certainly, there. I mean, it's not like this is a bunch of stupid kids who made dumb decisions, and like, no, these are fully grown adults who made really bad choices that they should have known well better.
Right.
Well better.
Right.
I mean, I'm all about a prayer for judgment or live, learn, grow.
Right.
But there was nothing about this that falls in that category of how did you not know?
Right.
I mean, I don't get that.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Personally, I think we should have a lot of tarring and feathering going on and blacklisting and, I don't know, using the full power of the United States government with these people that they have done multiple fucking centuries.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and still continue to do. I also think that some of these light sentences are like 45 days and 100 hours of community service along with $500 payment. No, 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 no.
No.
No. No, no, no. It's forfeiture of all federal benefits.
Basically.
Hi, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
That's where I think we should start at.
I think that is a fair way to respond to that.
Yeah.
Like, if your problem is with the entire country and how horrible it is and whatever, I don't understand why you would want to benefit from it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you don't need that. You're more importantly, you're already not benefiting from it.
Right.
So, we're quite obviously handing you money and benefits you don't need.
Right.
So,
like Social Security, disability.
I mean, because if we were just talking about a protest, I would not be saying this.
Right.
We're talking about a riot verging insurrection, or at least an attempted insurrection, more importantly.
Right.
So help me out, like,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm there with that one.
Yeah. No access to federal loans, federal backed loans, removing the right to vote, removing the right to carry a firearm.
Well, I'll say go ahead and leave the right to vote. Leave the right to vote. Like, your coup failed. So, I mean, let people have the right to vote. But no, if you're hating all this so bad, and this is not what you want, I don't understand why you would want to keep taking money from it.
Right.
And we'll quit taking taxes on you too.
No. We double them.
No. I will gladly stop taking taxes from them. But nothing do you get. Zero. Nada. Right. Nothing.
Right.
I call that fair. Like, we can, treat you as a citizen, non-citizen. Like, that's what you want to be.
Well, here's the tale of two governments. So Singapore is known for its hard line on crime, its hard line on gum chewing. They have a lot of hard lines there. Recently, a man in Singapore was given the death penalty. Do you want to figure out what his crime was?
Oh, give it to me.
Possessing 2 pounds of cannabis.
Oh.
So he will be hung.
Hung for pot.
Yep.
I think I saw that ad on Craigslist at some point. I'm just saying.
That's bad. But 41 was sentenced to death in February, and the court dismissed his appeals on Tuesday. But someone attempting to throw over the government, to stop our democracy, gets 100 hours of community service. Where is our justice system?
And I think some of it is also trying to prevent martyrdom. Like, as in, there are enough people that are just looking for a martyr in that cause.
Mm-hmm.
I think you almost have to be careful there.
Right.
As in, if you go too hard on a punishment,
Mm-hmm.
you might trip the trigger.
Well, see, here's the other part of that.
I don't think a couple of years in prison will trip that trigger.
Right.
You know, I just don't, especially not if it's spread around. That's a lot of martyrs. That'd be a lot of martyrs.
Exactly. But we have had and we have seen people be in life prison for minimal things, things that affect their own body, not other people's lives,
Right.
not the government, themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have an overwhelming size of prison population that, in my opinion, doesn't need to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and part of that is also admitting that to some, at least on some levels, like possession, the war on drugs is nothing more than a smokescreen for, for-profit prison.
Well, it's nothing.
Like, that's all it is.
Right. But it's already been proven that the sentences on drugs are not the same.
No, they break down racially horribly.
Right. Now, my question is, in your opinion, if this was a BML rally that got this far bad, would we be seeing as light of sentences as 45 days and 100 hours of community service?
Well, that's sort of the part and parcel of it is that if it were a Black Lives Matter protest and this was said at the very beginning, it would have never gotten this bad because there would have been a larger response much earlier and an actual plan for dealing with the protesters. Unfortunately, not all of that was removed.
Right.
To allow this protest to go unchecked.
Right. Like,
and I use that. Well, I use that in air quotes.
Right.
And it's not because I'm being facetious or I think it was a protest. But that's how it was billed before it happened. That, this protest was just a protest and soft shoe the response was what was, communicated. That wasn't at all what it was. That is not how it turned out. That is not how it went. It was never a protest.
Right.
So trying to make an equivalency to Black Lives Matter doesn't even work. Like, that's a protest.
Right.
That's, not storming the Capitol, shooting off tear gas, and bragging on social media that you pissed in Nancy Pelosi's toilet.
Right.
Like,
and then, we're spending, I believe, let me check it up and get the right amount here. $30 million in damages.
Yeah.
Not one of these people sentenced has been charged a part of that.
Yeah.
The American taxpayer, i.e. me, sitting at home, working, believing in my government, understanding how the system works, will have to pay part of that.
Well, that's also where I go back to the whole, we're not going to tax you anymore, but we're certainly not, we can shut off those benefits too.
Right.
Because that's a large chunk of change. Forgetting all of the, remove everything else and just property damage.
Right.
That alone Like, that's a national monument.
Right.
That is a historical building. Nothing that you damage in that building is going to be cheap to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no calling, Pella Windows to replace that glass.
Right.
There's no, let's go to Lowe's and, grab some tile, or let's go to Lowe's and just, remodel.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not, you don't get to do that. You're talking about some very expensive materials alone.
Exactly.
And some very expensive craftspeople.
Right.
To keep a historic accuracy of that building.
Right.
Like, again, none of this is cheap.
Right.
I mean, and as someone who has a client that has an older that uses an older home as an office space, let me tell you, like, going in the 21st century for a house that is over 100 years old, you have to make some choices real fast and keep to the idea of plaster walls, really old wood, beautiful floors, and okay, how can I not damage any of that?
Right.
Because you crack plaster, it gets expensive quickly.
Right.
You screw up really nice wood, it gets expensive quickly. And floors alone, like, people are real, like, even if you just have, like, plywood and cheap carpet, the amount of anger people can have over floors.
Right.
Just at like dude, look, it's like the whatever a foot special carpet and plywood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not just, doing damage to a well-crafted anything.
Right. So looking at this from a mathematical point of view,
Yeah.
every taxpayer in the United States will pay an additional 25 cents for the next 4 years to repair the damage these 600 and some individuals done. That doesn't count the cost of paying the lawyers, the judges to prosecute them, or the storage fees for storing them.
Yeah.
So when your taxes are higher next year, you can thank Proud Brothers.
I mean, short version.
Yeah. So
Like,
30
because
million.
it's filtering throughout our communities.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst part of this. Is, and not to mention, like, the stupidity of the people involved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, West Virginia had an elected official who went and did this.
Yeah.
Like, he had to resign. Hell, I can't even remember. Like, there's been so many irons in this fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to keep track
Mm-hmm.
of, like, who all did what, where, when. Like, I can't even remember what that turned into. I know he stepped down. I cannot remember what we did after that.
He was arrested.
Well, I know he was arrested. I know all of those things were going on. Did we have to turn around and do a new election, or was that an appointment?
No, Justice got to appoint one of the good old boys.
Oh, goody. So, yeah, in an area, if I remember correctly, that was already horribly in need of a good representative to begin with. Not that he necessarily, or obviously, was. But yeah.
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 I'm just trying to, Wayne County. Yeah.
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 By the way, did you see the redistricting of West Virginia?
No.
Oh, honey, it looks like they took it across the Mason-Dixon line. They divided the state in half. There's now the northern region and the southern region.
Well, that's the way it's been for years. Does the line stop at Beckley?
No, it goes straight across, cutting across Kanawha County.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little better than usual.
Right.
Like, sorry, we've been told for years that nothing in West Virginia matters south of Beckley. I mean, it's how the state's acted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything south of Beckley, you're screwed. Like, are you north of Beckley? We'll care.
Right.
So, but no, I had not seen the new redistricting.
They got really creative on it.
I mean, is it just like a straight line?
It looks like they followed a river.
I don't think we have any that go east-west, do we?
We've got one that goes to north-south, but let me see if
Well,
I can
that's what
get
I'm
you
saying. Is like there's not like a river right in the middle of the state that just like. Whew.
All right, coming into your inbox.
Oh, okay. Do. Oh, there it is. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh no. That line is nowhere near Kanawha County.
This is the senatorial seats, or representatives, the representative seats for the federal government.
So, yeah, basically what it does is, yeah, that's an interesting line.
Mm-hmm. It basically divides West Virginia to the north and the south. And if you notice, the north is a district that is a lot more affluent, a lot more relaxed, a lot more connected. Whereas down in the south are a lot more like, restrictive.
Well, see, here's where I would argue that, though. They may have actually found the one line they could draw. Because, granted, it's surrounding all, like, it's not cutting any county.
No, it's not cutting any counties.
But no, I think that's the only line they could have drawn. Like, I think population-wise.
Friends, darling, how nice of you to come visit us here. We don't do
We have a prince.
Yeah, this is my show.
Yeah.
No. You can go hunt somewhere else or host your own show, but you won't because you're a damn bot. Get the fuck out of my room, get the hell off my streams, and don't do this shit to my listeners.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Find a new hobby. Like, seriously, find a new hobby. Like, what the heck? But no, looking at the map, I would think that, yeah. I mean, it's the smallest differential by population.
Mm-hmm.
Like, granted, I was having to like do the mental math in my head for the areas.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I looked at the numbers.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's literally the only way you could almost equally divide the state. But that's just pure numbers, not necessarily money, or it doesn't always tell you a lot.
It's not the numbers. It's not going to do. I mean, just looking at the area, we have the eastern panhandle, the northern panhandle, and the very top sectors there.
Right.
District 1.
Right.
That's more affluent areas of West Virginia.
In many ways, yes.
Yeah. Then we have the poor southern districts down here.
Oh, Kathy's going to the breathing where it's safe?
She's going to the break room.
Oh, okay. And we'll get to your question here in a few. Sorry. Or did we get that already? No, we
No,
haven't.
we haven't.
Okay. But no, I don't know. There's a perfect line you could draw. Like I can't imagine one. I think no matter what they would have done, the line was going to be horribly imperfect.
Right. I just found it really, really odd. Very, very odd. Especially with it being called Trump 11.
With it being called what?
Here's the other map that was provided. I'll send it to you. You'll find it highly interesting.
Okay. Let me see. I gotta pull those side by side. Where'd the other one go? It's obviously not there. I just saw it. All right, we'll pull it up again. That'll work. All right. So, bada bing, bada boom. Well, it does deviate.
Not by much.
Not by much. Like, it swapped 2 counties.
Yeah.
So let's see. It swapped Ritchie and Pendleton. Because the Trump number 11 basically would be didn't include Ritchie in that district.
Right.
One. But did include Pendleton.
Right.
So yeah, this basically just swaps those 2 around, and otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Wait. Don't forget we have a representative Trump in West Virginia.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I think that's the bigger deal because I was reading the disclaimers, blah, 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 on the one you sent, the second one you sent. I think that's what that was.
I know. What's interesting is it's kind of going to be a little the way the districts are. Both proposals would place U.S. District David McKinley and, of course, our dear favorite. I enjoy harassing him because he's a worthless human being, Alex Mooney, in the same Northern District, while Representative Carol Miller would be in the Southern District. All 3 are Republicans.
Yeah. Well, no one's shocked by that.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I think I almost have an appreciation. I like at least Mooney has competition.
Well, I think he needs to have competition because he sucks. Yeah. It's like Manchin. He needs to go out too.
I mean, that's not my ringing endorsement of Miller.
McKenzie. Miller is the Southern one. I'm not happy with her either, but at least she keeps her mouth shut.
Yeah. Well, no, obviously I wasn't a fan of, yeah. But I was saying with Miller, it's not like that was a ringing endorsement of her. Like, I'm so glad she doesn't have competition. But yeah.
Yeah. But I wonder how this is going to change the voting map.
Oh, Kathy made it to the safe room.
Yes.
Yay!
For those that don't know, because we have those harassers on both my live streams, my baristas have a private group that they're able to go into and enjoy the show, make comments to the show, and not have to put up with idiots.
Oh yeah. It is a lovely benefit.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Alrighty.
alrighty. So, do you want to go to the terrorist attack in Britain, Clubhouse,
Yeah, I want to
Microsoft?
hear about that one. Like like. Sorry, guys. I've been real busy today.
Yeah,
So I haven't read everything that I have,
right.
seen. So what is this?
I love connecting with
Well, unfortunately, there was a stabbing in Britain of a British lawmaker, and he died.
Oh gosh.
MPs.
Second murder of a sitting British lawmaker in 5 years after
Mhm.
Labour MP Joe Cox was killed in 2016.
Right. And a book wrote a year later about being a member of parliament. I mean, it says Cox's murder was totally unexpected and an event that changed the way MPs interact with members of the public, partially related to the continual surges. These increased attacks are rather spoiled the great British tradition of the people openly meeting with elected politicians.
I mean, but considering the way MPs in Britain work, that would be not exactly on par, but fairly
Right.
on par with like our local representative. Um oh, help me out. What is her name?
Um, the wonderful doctor, I call her Doc. She's been known to work. She works the two ERs in the area. Sturgeon.
Margaret Staggers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've called her office, her official office, and left her like a hateful voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
Not a threatening voicemail, but no, I was quite obvious I was ticked. That was over the road project.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got told next time just call my house phone. It's a published number. Just we'll meet up for lunch, and
Yeah, we'll have a conversation. She is
like,
one
and
of
we
the
did.
best state representatives we have.
We did. We sat and talked on the phone. It was no big deal. It was great.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like she was pointing out, I don't have a secretary.
Right.
Like,
I don't have staff.
yeah, like I'm on my own here. Just call the house. It's easier. It's no big deal.
Right.
Which I found interesting. I mean, I would not have even thought to look in a phone book.
Right.
To be honest, I mean, a large number of people that have, high profile, should we say, or public figure status, typically go unlisted.
Right. But
like,
she doesn't. Like, her patients can call her at home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the level of connection with her community. This is the same thing that Mr. Amassey was.
Mm-hmm.
He has been hailed as one of the hardest working members of Parliament. Even like Theresa May is making tweets about the loss of the loss to not only Parliament but to the communities. But this even brings into a deeper point here. This man was stabbed to death.
Mm-hmm.
This was an very, very much terrible. Over his position in government. Now, for those that do not understand the British ways, they have outlawed gun control. They have outlawed guns. And it still happens.
Yeah.
That have acid attacks there.
Well, and I think the bigger takeaway is, as horrific and tragic as this is, at least with a stabbing, he went, like, the person who did this went for his target, and that was the person at risk.
Right.
Not everyone in a 10-foot radius or more.
Right. Because they suck at shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my bigger point here is January 6th is something that other governments see all the time, unfortunately. We've lost that interconnection with our representatives. Now, when Doc comes back up on the ballot, there's no question of voting for her again. She done everything she could to deal with this situation. She done her job as my representative. I really wish she would run for a bigger office, but she then would lose connection with her community. She's also one of those women that you will run into in Kroger's, and she will know you. Don't matter who you are. She knows you if you've had to have a personal interaction with her. She will say hi. She will ask you about your family. That's real government.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a town councilor called here, and me and him go back years. He's our counselor at large. He will stop and talk to me forever.
Yeah. No, and generally that is, like, that should be the idea of government.
Right.
Now, granted, higher offices harder to keep in touch with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that, and to a degree, expect that.
Mm-hmm.
But also there's just the reality that it's like any corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Your local businesses, and it is easy to throw off on businesses in general. I'm not anti-business. I'm really not. Run your business, and do well with your business. Employ local people, for the love of God. It's also harder running a small business locally to ignore people.
Mm-hmm.
Than it is when you're a multinational corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And who the fuck cares about, like, we're located in New York. That's where our executives and our board of directors and our stockholders meet.
Mm-hmm.
And who the fuck cares about someone in Oak Hill, West Virginia?
Mm-hmm.
Who the, like, what does it matter? You're just one more number in a book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all you can be.
Right.
And that's very true. Like, of a multinational corporation and someone in, an executive capacity for
Right.
that organization. It's harder when, you go to, like, school or PTA meetings and,
Right.
church or whatever, grocery stores and everything else, with the same people that you either employ or pretty close to it.
Right.
You have a hard time being left alone,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you do something really stupid
Right.
or really cruel.
Right.
Like, you have to face some music for that.
Exactly.
Not a stabbing.
Right.
Just to clarify, I'm not down with stabbing.
Right. But it's what I'm saying is, unfortunately, like Alex Mooney, for example, who represents our state
Mm-hmm.
in the House of Representatives, hasn't been to West Virginia ever. Well, hasn't been to Oak Hill, West Virginia ever. I don't think you could pick it out on a map.
Probably not.
Barely lives within the district.
Mm-hmm.
Manchin isn't even from West Virginia. He's an import. sides with Republicans, grabs news articles, doesn't vote for the people of West Virginia. And then when West Virginians voice the problems that they have with him, he comes back and hits them harder in newspapers.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't take criticism well.
Mm-mm.
Never has.
Right. But by golly, he can pay for a YouTube ad.
Do I know?
By golly, he can pay for a YouTube ad. He's been filling my YouTube ads with, tell Manchin to vote for this, and Manchin does this. It's like, will you stop the political campaign, get out of your D.C. office, drive to your office in West Virginia that you're only here 4 times in 4 years, and meet with your people.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like a horrible concept.
No, not at all.
It's not that I'm saying leave Washington, don't work, but you have a lot of days off.
Yeah, too many days off. It's a part-time job with a full-time pay.
Well, but what I'm saying is spend some time actually in the state that you're representing.
Right.
And ensure that you're, on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
That all this time in Washington hasn't changed your perspective of what West Virginia needs. Because quite frankly, the West Virginia that Manchin would best know at this point was the West Virginia when he was governor.
Yeah. And we have moved way past that, way down that hole.
I mean, because it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to remember offhand exactly how many minutes. Let's see. Oh, I'm trying to see. Oh, come on. Just have an easy, quick.
2001 to 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. West Virginia's changed a lot in, 16 years.
Yeah.
There were people that were born when he left office that now drive.
Right. There were people born in office when he was in office that now vote.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't that good of a governor.
No, not really, no. I mean, I'm kind of grateful, at least under... Or maybe I've missed it. Did we finally get rid of the, new governor, new sign problem?
No.
Oh, we still have that.
Yes.
God. Sorry, it's been a while since I've crossed the border.
It's been a couple months, but at the same time, it's like, oh, please. I'm tired of that.
I always hated, I hated that when it started. Every new governor, we have to replace the road signs that say, welcome to West Virginia, because we, at some idiotic point, and I don't think it was Manchin.
No.
I'm trying to think which governor it was that started that.
Arch Moore.
Yeah. Had to slap governor, blah, 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 on every sign in the state.
Mm-hmm. Arch Moore was the first one to do it, and they continue to do that and continue to change their slogan. I believe Justices is open for business?
Duh! I think so.
Before that, it was Wild and Wonderful West Virginia. Please help me. Someone give him a marketing class.
No, I was struggling to remember that, one, thought about that, but more importantly, was struggling to remember, how far back that crap goes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's other states, they've had the same damn sign for decades.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, but they have to change the pictures and all of the rest stops in government buildings of the governor. Why is there a picture of him? He is an employee. He is not the employee of the month. He is not the employee of any special significance. He
I
is
technically, right now, Justice has not been the employee of any month.
right now. He's nothing but a mind boss, acting like a mind boss, and using every dime, cent, and penny he can suck out of the American people and out of West Virginia for his own damn benefit.
Yeah. And sorry, Olo, I'm not following. And we do have a Kathy question to get back to.
All right,
now that
so
she's
let's take the
settled.
Kathy question, and then you can move over to Microsoft.
Oh, cool. Alrighty, so Kathy, 72862. My mom is my mom going to give me $50 or more? Peanut is missing me while I'm in Texas. Oh, I'm sure Peanut is.
Peanut is missing you. I feel like you're a little stressed on this trip. I do feel that she gives you at least $50. I feel like she helps you out there. I also feel like with your mom, there is always a caveat and a connection to any money she gives you. So be prepared for it, whether it's a boring dinner or a hug or whatever. There's always strings attached to her money.
Mom money always has strings.
Not all mom money.
Like all parent money should, like, you should just assume is going to come with terms and conditions.
Mm-hmm.
But mom money especially, because they can always trot out the "I brought you into this world." And
9 hours of labor, almost killed myself. Almost died.
There you go. Exactly. Alrighty. So, So Microsoft. Oh, Microsoft. So Microsoft is going to shut LinkedIn in China amid scrutiny. So yeah, they're going to replace LinkedIn in China with an app for applying for jobs, but without networking.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you can apply for jobs, but you can't quite do the whole semi-social media thing.
Right. Which is weird. And here's why I say it's weird.
Okay.
LinkedIn used to be a place for business and businesses to interlink, coworkers interlink, share interesting base articles, all that fun stuff. Over the past 2 years, they have moved more to, we will call it the MySpace model. It isn't exactly Facebook, but it's very much MySpacey. And it's a very large MySpacey model.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're changing it in China to being just a monster jobs.
Basically. But yeah, it's because they are facing more challenges with compliance in China.
Mm-hmm.
And LinkedIn was given a deadline by Chinese internet regulators to better oversee the site.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Trying to see it. I was trying to see in the article if it actually went into exactly where the problem point is.
Right.
Like, obviously, the networking is the problem. So they launched in 2014 in China.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, apparently it sounds like they're just really hating the harvesting of user data.
Well, it sounds more so that China's trying to control the stories because they've already banned Facebook, banned Twitter. Google left in 2010 in response to a hacking and censorship.
Mm-hmm.
Now Microsoft is basically turning off their site.
Right.
So we have this whole country that will not have real social media.
Yeah.
That cannot interact with the world.
Well, that's kind of the nature of China.
Yeah.
Like, China, as it wants to sell to the world, doesn't really want to connect with the world.
Exactly.
Because the external world has opinions on China. And how China is run and what China thinks and how China acts, and what China's doing. And without getting into those, just point blank, they're not always favorable of China.
Right.
So, if you're watching us in China, I'm like, hi.
Hi, how are you? We
You
will be
know,
happy to be sharing news with you. And sorry, me and the Chinese government have a long-standing
hate
position.
relationship?
No, position.
Okay, there you go. Oh, but yeah, no, China's been very touchy
Mm-hmm.
about, its version of events being correct.
Right.
And that, you either agree with China or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But they preferably like you to be able to silence anyone who doesn't agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big struggle in a social media environment.
Well, not only that, but in a social media economy.
That too.
Not 6 months to a year ago, we were having this large debate over TikTok being owned by a Chinese company.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, they love selling.
Mm-hmm.
Though something tells me TikTok in China isn't really a thing.
Right. Actually, it is.
That's just so weird.
Well, see, this was the big problem with the Chinese government. They were having problems because Beijing people were using social media to organize a protest against China taking over Beijing, against China influencing the Beijing government, which is supposed to be an independent government. And they were using TikTok to do it.
Yeah.
TikTok has been doing a lot of things as far as organizing things. Like, I don't know, do we remember the Yellow Dumplings failed rally where the seats were mostly empty? That was caused by a TikToker going, oh, by the way, do you know you can reserve the seats for this rally and you don't have to go?
Well, and that's where the separation between a company owning a platform and a platform in and of itself.
Right.
And what individual people and groups of people do with that platform.
Right.
But even at that, it's, very counter.
Mm-hmm.
To at least, the Chinese preferred version of events.
Right.
And how or what one would do.
Right. Yeah.
So always a struggle.
Always a struggle.
Oh, so Shannon points out, I was in labor with you for nearly 24 hours for you to come out looking like your daddy. Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, but hurtful. So hurtful. Especially when it's said to you by your mom.
Oh.
Ouch.
Ouch.
All right. So, does anyone use Clubhouse?
To what?
Clubhouse.
No, I've missed this one entirely.
Well, Clubhouse is this. It's not a new app. It's an app in general. It's basically a voice chat rooms. And apparently, they are getting ready to launch their music space, a new music mode that could make it a place to play. You'd actually listen to authors. You can listen to radio hosts. It's quite interesting. It'll let you capture 30-second recordings and will support studio sound as well. If you decide to save the snap of the performance in music mode, the audio quality will stay the same. Music mode will intentionally be available at iOS, but Clubhouse says it will roll out to Android the following shortly behind. This app is something I will probably be checking out, just because it's gaining some traction there.
So maybe I'm not understanding, but it almost sounds like it's a mash-up of like Spotify or Google Music and TikTok.
Yep.
Okay.
Very much so.
Like it's a little social, but it's mostly just audio.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So Mika's got a question.
All right, Mika 22082. The conversation with my manager in St. Louis, was she displeased with or has any issues with me now and or recently?
Let me take a look here.
Ah, Ashley says it's like a vocal Twitter.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Aeson will be expanding over there. If it's on Android yet, I will have to search. I could find usefulness for this.
It is. It is on Android. Clubhouse, the social audio app.
Mm-hmm.
That's just such a weird. It's a weird combination of words.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting.
Absolutely.
It was under invite only. I may go check it out. It'd be great to use for other things, but 30 seconds, I don't know. We've done 30 seconds before. There's some things that go out in 30 seconds. All right, let's see what's going on with Mika and her supervisor. I don't think she's displeased with you. I think she's going to be really hard on you, and here's why. She sees the potential there that needs to be soldered in a little harder. But she isn't displeased with you or have issues with you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool.
Okay? She's one of those ones that looks at you and goes, you can do more. I know you can be more. How do I get you there? Well, I'll just iron you out. That's what's going on with this one.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep. By the way, Shannon, I do like your new haircut. It looks very nice on you.
Oh.
Actually, I don't think the ads hacked it. I think they started using it.
Well, it just looking at the comments on the app though,
Uh-huh.
like there's some interesting ones.
Okay.
Like this one from October 3rd was the app is a great idea. I made some friends and learned a few things on the way. However, every now and then a hacker ends up hijacking the room and cursing at everyone. Not to mention all the hate speech, harassment, and violent language that you would encounter from the hackers. The issue's been going, oh, there we go, on for a while now, and sometimes I will be listening to music on Clubhouse with family around me, and someone ends up ruining the mood and forcing us to hear some inappropriate language. So it sounds like it almost sounds like you. So your feed,
Uh-huh.
would basically be like an literal audio version of Twitter.
Yeah.
Like you're just scrolling, so to speak, scrolling through,
Mm-hmm.
and you're hitting all these different, things, and then oops.
Right.
Ew, I don't know about that. I would have a real struggle bus with trying to listen to that. Like I've been listening. Today was a bad example, but while I've been working, of course, it's an empty building at the moment. So I've been, listening to music while I'm there. I don't think I could listen to sit there and have Clubhouse running and be on a client site, because it would be like my luck.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like some kind of horrific porno audio moment right as a client walks through the door, and it's like, oh my god, I swear to god I was listening to something else entirely.
Uh-huh.
Like, can I introduce you to a new app you will never want?
Or actually, I think that client might want it to reach others.
Well, true. But at the same time, as a first introduction, I think that would kill it.
Well, I don't know. I think that if it kills it, then they're not really in the right mode.
Well, there's that. I'm just saying, sometimes, like, your first introduction to something can really make or break it.
Right. It can. It definitely can. But no, I'll be checking it out and seeing where we're at with it. See if it's really ready for me.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, then my baristas will know about it before everyone else does because they get a news flash of Aeson's doing this or Aeson's trying this or Aeson's doing that.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about our baristas for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
We got some kick-ass baristas, guys.
we do.
Yeah. All right. And it's been a while since we talked barista talk.
Ooh. When is our next lovely barista meeting?
The next barista meeting will be on the 25th. It will be at 8 o'clock. And that's a private live stream, private Zoom call with us.
Mm-hmm.
They also currently get the lovely benefit of having the break room where they have direct social media interaction with us, can share news stories, and influence what we talk about on the show. And also, we get to keep up with them. They get to keep up with us.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own private website that we're developing that will give them, should be by the end of the month, their own pricing for appointments for me. Plus, they already get a discount on those appointments to begin with. They may even get special events. They get unpublished classes with me.
Mm-hmm. They get some discounts.
And discounts.
Oh
And
yeah.
discounts on public classes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. Plus, they get to be my testers. If I'm going to try something new, my baristas are going to get to try it before everyone else does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And early videos. I know we've been lacking on video content for a little bit. It's been trying to organize. I want to do some more cooking videos, but we got to redo the kitchen first.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we have a plan for that.
We do, and we have a budget and a project sheet.
Yeah, we have a list of everything we need, and yeah. Oh, hopefully that makes the kitchen better.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's yeah.
Now I am changing up some of the other benefits because either I'm looking at the pages and the baristas aren't using them. Okay. Or they aren't asked. Like some of them are optional. Like our largest one gets a free angel reading. That's actually going to probably turn into a free 15 because no one's sending me an angel question in that department. But why don't you go over our levels?
Oh, I'm a horrible person who does not have those up in front of me. So yeah, we do have 3 different tiers of that you can join at. So yeah, sorry, I'm just having a moment tonight. That's where I'm at. So we use Patreon, and there are tall supporters and grande supporters and venti supporters. We thought we'd keep with that coffee shop theme for you guys. So $1 a month, you get an end of video thank you, which we'll be doing here in just a few moments. Access to our newsletter, a 5% discount. The private Facebook group, your own private site where you can access all your benefits, and 50% off all virtual classes. Mm-hmm. Then we have our grande supporter for $5 a month. You get all the same benefits plus another 5% discount for a total 10% discount on private readings with Aeson. Early access, meditative wallpaper that I keep meaning to get done. I'm horrible. And then at $10 a month, you add on another 5% discount for a grand total of 15% off of a private reading with Aeson. All the same things, and yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be playing with this. We will be updating benefits this month. We do this about every 3 months to see what you like, what works, and what works for us. But this gives us the benefit to also do things. Now, there's some other things that we have enabled for our listeners. Maybe you don't want to deal with Patreon. Maybe you're one of our listeners over on Spotify. If you look in the show description below, you'll notice there's a link for to sponsor the show. This is not part of the Patreon thing. This is actually you sponsoring through Spotify, and you can do that. You can support the show right down there. Other opportunities like that will happen. I do still use Click for Advisor, and I will be. There is a problem with what you have to go into your barista website to get me. But that schedule will be met. The only time that schedule doesn't match my Keen schedule is when Keen is stacking me, so I can't do both.
Right. Yeah, if you're doing back-to-back calls, there's no way to like hit pause on Keen.
Right.
And be like, hold on, I'm going to take this over here. Like Keen don't do that.
Right. However, and this is what I'm going to be doing and this is why, the baristas are going to be getting their own calendar, their own time zones. This is something I've been really working on to encourage and to enable it to where you have to wait about an hour, but you can still reserve an appointment with me if I am on demand. So I will be matching that schedule with barista pricing.
Awesome.
Yeah. But again, those are things we're developing for our baristas. And if it works well with the baristas, then we'll be doing it elsewhere.
There you go. Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about our baristas, ways to sponsor the show, including through Patreon and in the show description on Spotify. But we do want to take a moment and thank our baristas. We love our sponsors, our Patreons. Thank you so much for your support. Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryant, Ashley Gish, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, the ever wonderful, and Charles Shaw. If you'd like to learn more about the show, about us, or how to become a Patreon, please visit PCSPnetwork.com.
Yep. All right, guys. It's been a great evening. We have a guest on Tuesday, I believe. I'm going to double check that. We've got a lot of guests coming in for the Psychic Coffee Shop. We may have a few guests come over to Mountain Bears if it is Mountain Bear topical related. But may your Wi-Fi be strong. May you have a great weekend. We will see you on Tuesday. And may you smile a little more. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo, ready, set, go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Yeah, it's my time, yo time. Step into the spotlight. Get lit, yo. Let yourself go. On time, high time. Gotta go big time. This is it, yo. Never take no fight time. Grind time. Take it to the street time. Turn the roof off. Get loco. Game time, win time. We gon' bring it home time. No regrets now. Let it all go. We bring the thunder.